Next Saturday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, see the light heavyweights. Plus, the battle of the super heavyweights, the world's strongest men competition. You'll say you saw it on CBS Sports.
So Washington took a field goal down off the boards when it gave them a first down on the running into the kicker and parlayed it into a 10-yard touchdown run from Benny Malone. Washington 7, Philadelphia nothing, and the Skins kicking off. Deep is Wally Henry on the goal line. And the kick will not quite get there. Henry's going to have to back into the end zone and take it out. And he's to the 10, to the 15, a little guy at the 20, and goes forward to about the 23-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10. George, the field goal appeared to have been accepted. The team started to come off the field. Is there a bottom line how long you can wait before realizing it gave you a first down?
They automatically thought the Redskins would accept the 3 points. The coach, the head coach, has the option of taking the points or taking the first down. I once lost a game against New England by taking points off of the board, and on the next play, we threw an interception.
1st and 10 from the 23, and the quarterback, heavily taped, is Ron Jaworski. With Harrison Montgomery out of the eye, and it's Wilbert Montgomery following Harris outside, now cutting inside, and Mark Murphy finally... Harris doing a good job of blocking big Carl Lorch.
As I mentioned, the Pardee made the right decision. If you don't take the first down, it shows you don't have confidence in your offense. And then if you don't make it, you still have a chance to kick that field goal later on.
2nd and 4 from the Eagle 29, and Jaworski, finding himself down 7-0, has Carmichael wide right, Smith left. His tight end Clefley is on the left side. Wilbert Montgomery trying to climb over people, and he goes down at the 34-yard line. Woody Peoples doing the job.
Woody Peoples, coming over from San Francisco, has done a fine job to strengthen this offensive line. Now watch 69 pulling, going through the hole, going down, trying to make a block.
He and Guy Morris looked like they were hooked up the way they worked together. But the Skins working well defensively. It's enough, however. 1st and 10 on the Eagle 34. Play action fake. Jaworski looping it high. Montgomery making the catch. And he gets to the 43. Fumbles. Carmichael picks it up. And the big man is off to the races. Dragged down from behind by Tony Peters.
Well, they're ruling that. If that's correct, only the guy that fumbles the ball can recover his own fumble.
On a pass, 1st and 10.
Now watch this. He's hit and fumbles. Carmichael picks it up. Well,
that play covered 44 yards as big Harold Carmichael dragged down by Tony Peters from behind. That puts the ball at the Redskin 23-yard line. In fact, make it to 23, 1st and 10. And the Eagles now, on a drive, get a big break on a fumble recovery. Jaworski to Montgomery. He fumbles again. And apparently recovered it.
You know, some of this fumbling is not due to improper carrying the ball. There's hard hitting in there. These teams are playing football. Let's watch the contact.
That's Kenny Houston, one of your favorites.
Oh, Kenny.
Clefley, the tight end, went down to get it ahead of Lamar Parrish, and Dick Vermeil wondering what's going on with my man Montgomery. Meanwhile, barefoot Tony Franklin loosening up. We might see him in a moment. 2nd and 8 from the 21 of Washington. Jaworski under a rush. Gets rid of the ball in the end zone. No good for Carmichael. Coy Bacon came charging in. Tony Peters was defending.
They dogged him on that. The Eagles couldn't pick it up. Jaworski did a good job of getting it off. Could have been sacked on it.
So it'll be 3rd and 8.
Excuse me, Vinny. The Redskin defense to date have dictated to the Eagle offense.
I don't know whether it's the fact that the game is in Washington or the fact that Washington lost 2 weeks ago or even the fact that the Skins are home for the first time in 5 games. But they would appear to have more fire and more emotion, at least up to this stage,
than
Philadelphia. So it is 3rd and 8 on the Skins' 21-yard line. Big play for Jaworski. The Skins trying to get through. Jaworski high and deep and over the head of the tight end Krefli.
Well,
once again, it was Tony Peters picking him up.
He had to throw it high. Peters was right on him, and the Redskins are putting on a pretty good rush. Watch, he's got him covered all the way.
It's no accident that Washington has held 4 of its last 5 opponents under the 10-point mark, and the only exception was that game 2 weeks ago against Philadelphia. So Jaworski is frustrated. The ball at the 21, and Tony Franklin, who has kicked 9 out of 11, the only 2 he has missed this year, from the 52 and the 50. He's already kicked more field goals than Philadelphia made all last year. The spot at the 27, a 37-yard kick is no good. So even Franklin comes up short, and the Eagles can't get off the ground. With 5 minutes and 23 seconds left to the half, you can see Franklin, and apparently slicing it, hitting it inside out.
He didn't follow through, Ben. He kicked it. The ball went exactly the way he kicked it. He kicked it to the right, and it goes to the right.
And Franklin, a rookie out of Texas A&M, who had kicked them in college 64 and 65, missed that one by plenty. It just got away from him. So now the line of scrimmage remains at 21, so the Skins pick up a yard. Theismann setting up a screen to Danny Buggs, and they stack him up. It didn't work. 5:15 left to the half. 7-0 in favor of Washington, and they have just stiffened after the Eagles had taken over on their own 23 and moved to the Washington 21, and Vermeil has to be a little frustrated.
That last call is a good first down play. It's almost as safe as a running play. You throw a quick screen to your flanker, let the blocker set up, and he cuts back underneath. It's very safe.
2nd and 9 from the 22-yard line, a full house backfield, but now Thompson goes in motion to the left. Second man, Benny Malone, and is he ever buried? And buried by Carl Hairston and Claude Humphrey. Now, they're 2 guys who really make a sandwich out of it.
Yes, they do. They didn't go for the fake. They faked to Riggins. They've been worried about stopping Riggins and give it to the second man through. They weren't fooled. It's a wonder Malone didn't fumble the ball.
Humphrey is 265, Hairston is 260, and Malone is 190. So it is 3rd and 10.
Eagles made a good trade when they brought in Claude Humphrey.
Miami leading New England 13-0 in the second quarter. The ball back where it started on the 21. McDaniel in a slot left, inside Buggs. Theismann under no pressure to Harmon, who juggled and is on his way. Harmon down the sidelines, being chased by Wilson, and is pushed out of bounds, but they're going to call the play back, I believe. He stepped out of bounds in the vicinity of the 40-yard line.
Ben, you know, we were talking about Harmon before the game. This guy is a tremendous football player. He'll stay with the ball. He'll get a deflected ball. He doesn't make mistakes. Let's see if he steps out of bounds there.
Right there.
Yeah, he was pushed out of bounds. A lot of receivers would not follow this in. Harmon did the same thing one year when the Redskins beat the Rams. Same type of a ball. Watch this catch. Looked it right in. Now he puts it away. He's got excellent speed for a 211-pound
play.
You know, Ben, over the years, when we would complain about something on the opposition, we'd say, those guys are holding. They'd call it on our ball club.
In case you're not aware of what George means, Jack Pardee this week blistered Philadelphia for their illegal holding. Vermeil was quite angry at the charge, and now don't you know it's Washington guilty of the infraction.
So we wouldn't complain about anything.
Holding, offense, number 54, first down.
That's Bob Kuziel, the center, 5 years out of Pittsburgh, who was guilty of the infraction. So 1 minute, Washington had the big play, but now they're back on their own 30-yard line where it is 1st and 20. Thompson in motion to the right, and you have Riggins and Malone behind him, and Malone in motion to the left, going outside McDaniel. No rush really by the Eagles. Theismann with a lot of time, and he hits Thompson. Randy Logan brings him down, but it's a first down.
I'll tell you, Ben, what you just said, the Eagles have yet to rush Theismann. They've had 2 deflected balls, unless they can put a little more pressure on him with the Redskins' running game with Riggins and his ability to pick up the short passing game, the possession type of passing, they're going to be in trouble.
Theismann
too much time to throw.
Is 8 for 12, and now with that, he is 9 for 13. So Theismann having a big day. It is 7-0 Redskins. We have 3:05 to the half, and it's 1st and 10 now on the Eagle 48. And it'll be John Riggins. Grab from behind. Big Dennis Harrison, number 68, fell on top of him. At the bottom is Frank LeMaster.
You know, all that shifting really shouldn't bother you. You wait until they get in the final set and you tee off and you play football. You're not concerned what the preliminary set should be. If you're concerned about that, then you're hesitating and you're not playing good defensive football. Let them shift. That's the way we always used to play Dallas.
And that's really Washington's feeling right now. They think they're playing Dallas, even though it is Philadelphia. 2nd and 8 on the Eagle 46. Bugs is right. Thompson is left. Malone in motion, so Riggins is the sole setback. Theismann down the middle. Off. And it is Bernard Wilson who made the reception. So there's another costly Washington turnoff as it went over the hands of Bugs and picked off by Bernard Wilson.
The ball was a little high and it was thrown with velocity. There's a clash on that type of thing. Tipped up ball, that's what you practice. Deflected balls to pick them off. The Eagles are very fortunate to date that they aren't behind by 10, 14 points.
And the Redskins have to be thoroughly frustrated that they're only leading 7-0. It is 1st and 10 for the Eagles. The ball on the Eagle 34-yard line. And Jaworski is back in there, bad ankle and all. He has Harris on a wing and Montgomery. Now they're both setbacks. And it'll be Harris, grabbed by Butts, got away from Butts for the moment, still didn't pick up more than a yard or so, and we get to the 2-minute warning. Paul Smith making the tackle. So 2 minutes to go to the half. The Washington Redskins, who took 3 off the boards, went back and got 7, and they're leading Philadelphia 7-0.
My parents bought me a Pinto when I graduated from high school because they thought it would be a perfect car for college, and my sister agrees.
Right, I think it's perfect, too. And my sister agrees.
And my sister agrees. Mine, too.
Mine, too.
Well, I guess you can call us an 8 Pinto sorority.
Join the Pinto family. The 1980 Pinto with 40 standard features. Compare Pinto. It may be the best small car value in America.
We've always wanted to be on TV. Thanks,
For those parents who realize that $500 isn't too much to spend to expand their child's world, Radio Shack has the perfect gift.
The TRS-80 computer, the most significant investment a parent can make. Programs for your child's education or your business, finance, and home use. Let your children discover tomorrow's technology today. The TRS-80, the biggest name in little computers. Only at Radio Shack, a Tandy company.
2 weeks ago, the Philadelphia Eagles scored 28 points and gained 209 yards rushing against Washington. Today, Washington is leading 7-0. Jaworski has already passed 7 times. 2 weeks ago, he passed only a total of 12. And the big story, Wilbert Montgomery has been bottled up for only an average of 3 yards in 8 carries. So the Eagles have it 2nd and 6 on their own 38, trying to generate a drive. Jaworski chased by Bacon, and of course on that bad ankle, and it appeared to be very evident that time. He couldn't take a quick drop, and Bacon just ate him up.
Yeah, they were trying to set up a screen pass, and the blockers didn't stay with their men long enough, and Jaworski didn't have a chance on this. Here it is. He's going back to pass. He is limping a little bit. Bacon's right in there. Nobody would have had a chance on that. By the way, Lavender is not playing. 23 Peters is playing the corner in place of Joe Lavender. Good trade the Redskins made with Cleveland to get Peters.
Lavender has a bad knee, in case you're wondering. It is 3rd and 13 on the Eagle 31. They just lost 7 yards on the sack. Jaworski over the middle. A great catch by the tight end, Keith Krefley, who was guarded by Tony Peters, but Krefley picks up the first down.
You know,
The clock is stopped at 1:23. Timeout, Philadelphia.
Then we talk about players that are underrated or overrated. Krepley is an overachiever. He doesn't have all of the qualities, physical qualities you want in a receiver, but he's a big play guy. He's always hustling. He gets everything out of himself.
You just got 17 yards for the first down. You're going to get a lot more than 17 yards if you tune in and look at this winner's lineup tonight on CBS. 60 Minutes starts with the award winner, and then the laps are on the house at Archie Bunker's place, one day at a time. Alice, the Jeffersons, and concluded with Pernell Roberts as Trapper John, M.D. Meanwhile, it's Redskins football, the NFL on CBS. The Redskins leading the Eagles 7-0, 1:23 to the half.
One advantage the Eagles have in this 2-minute drill is a 6'8" guy like Carmichael, where they can lay it up and let him take the ball away from a defender.
It's interesting to note the only time Carmichael has had his hands on the ball is when he picked up a fumble after a pass reception. So it is 1st and 10 from the 48. Jaworski with a little time this time, but overshoots Charlie Smith down the left side. Lamar Parrish is right there defending with him.
Kenny Houston is covering Carmichael man for man. See, Carmichael has the size of a tight end. Kenny Houston is the strong safety. Usually you put your strong safety on a guy like that. Kenny Houston's 6'3", and he's tough. It's a good matchup.
Carmichael has caught at least one pass in 103 consecutive games. The streak, oddly enough, began against Washington, October the 8th, 1972. But he hasn't touched one today. So it is 2nd and 10 on the Eagle 48. Jaworski is going to be buried, coming in a hurry with double sevens, and that's Joe Jones along with Boy Bacon.
Now that offensive, the Redskins got their pass rushing personnel in there. Turkey Jones runs a stunt, fooled the Eagles. Ron didn't have a chance. Bacon in there with him. They have to protect him better than that, even if he were 100%.
So Jaworski with that right ankle heavily taped, and he's unable really to move around at all. He can drop straight back, but even then it takes him time to get back. And they almost knocked him right out of his left shoe. He has to tie the laces, so they ate him up.
The Redskins are playing the type of football they want. They got the Eagles playing their game. They want to pass rush and cover and come in with nickel defenses and dime defenses, 6 defensive backs. The Eagles haven't run the football effectively, so they're playing right into the Redskins' defensive strength.
The Redskins had 14 sacks going into this game, and they have sacked Jaworski 4 times for a loss of 36 yards, and they put Ron in a hole now, 3rd and 22. And, of course, the Redskin defensive squad has given up only 104 points. They're number 1. Lamar Parrish, of course, has had a lot to do with that. We mentioned Parrish playing his cornerback position has been responsible for 9 turnovers and 4 sacks today, and Jaworski's been unable to get his men on the ground. Well, in fact, in passing, it's a -3 yards, George.
Well, Lamar's an all-pro, real addition of this ball club.
3rd and 22 from the Eagle 36. Fitzke wide left and Smith in a slot left. Carmichael wide right. Jaworski looking right, throwing high, caught but out of bounds. Kenny Houston was there along with Harris. They were double teaming the big man, but he was out of bounds.
Here's Houston and Carmichael, one-on-one. Now Jaworski put the ball up high to use his height. Now he's got help from Harris, 26 also. Had the ball, but out of bounds. Nice catch by Carmichael. Out of bounds.
So 4th down, and Max Roniger will be kicking it from his own 25. Fakes a pass, now drills it. Hardiman backtracking on the 6-yard line. With Forte and Harmon trying to block, John Chiara closing in, and they take him out. And he is finally knocked out of bounds by Roniger, the punter, number 4. So Max Roniger did a good job.
What Hardiman tried to do was very difficult. Catch the ball on the opposite side of the field and run way across and turn the corner. He did the smart thing, get out of bounds with 54 seconds.
So with 54 seconds left to the half, and you can see the timeouts, they each have 1. And there was a flag on the play, so I would assume because of that fake pass by Runiger that there was an illegal man downfield. Anytime you take an extra second, it costs you.
Right, Ben. With this present rule, if there's any delay, any fumbling of the ball, somebody's going to be downfield.
Oh, Max will have to kick again, and we'll get the call now from referee Chuck Heberling.
Ineligible man downfield. Number 88 on a kicking team. 4th down.
So Spagnola getting downfield much too early, but it was all set up because Runiger faked that pass, and it gave him that extra 3 beats before he got the punt away. So Max will have to try it again. The ball on the 31-yard line.
This is a good time to go for a block right here. Go after that ball. Go after that kicker.
The Skins are on the line. We'll see if they're coming. They have not tried Runiger so far today. Long count. They can't get in, and Runiger arrows one deep, and Hardiman with his right hand in the air calling fair catch at the 22.
They went after him. They had the punt block on. Eagles picked it up very well. He had time to run it back. Usually when you have the punt block on with no protection back there, you signal for a fair catch.
Just to the right of your screen, however, was John Shara, number 21, and he was battling Ray Waddy. And I think had Hardiman elected to run, Shara was right there.
Joe did a great job in a 2-minute drill last week against the Cleveland Browns. Let's see what he does.
1st and 10 on the Redskin 24. Theismann setting up, going low, and he's gotten his man, Harmon. Not quite enough for a first down, but he's spotted at about the 33-yard line. 1 yard and time going. 33 seconds to the half. Theismann trying to get close for at least a field goal attempt. Over the middle to Hardiman, and they'll bring him down as he gets out to the 45-yard line. And we have 23 seconds and time called. John Shara, number 21, was in there to make the tackle.
Smart football, Ben. Possession, passing. You don't need much protection. You get 6-7 yards. Let the receiver run with the ball.
By the way, Mark Mosley is 13 out of 16 in field goals. Twice he has led the National Football League in field goals. His longest are 53 and 54. You might keep that in mind. Also keep in mind Monday night. Look at this. The Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. Then you have Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids Halloween special. Then it's MASH, followed by WKRP in Cincinnati and Lou Grant. Holy mackerel, Halloween is upon us. Right here on CBS. A couple of numbers for you just for a moment. To give you an idea, Theismann is 10 for 15 for 109. However, he has had 2 interceptions. Jaworski is 3 for 10 for 33 yards, and he's been sacked 4 times. Riggins has been the big runner, 9 times for 53 yards. Montgomery has been pretty well shut down, 8 carries for 24 yards. With 23 seconds to go, 1st and 10 from the 45. Quick release to Harmon. He's to midfield, head down, and he goes down. And the clock continues to run, and they have used up their timeout. They're going to have to hurry up to throw the ball out of bounds.
Time for one play.
The clock running out. Theismann rolling, 2 seconds, and he throws it, OB. However, the clock says we've run out. So Washington appeared to waste too much time, George.
Yes, they did. But the Eagles, again, are very fortunate to only be behind 7-0. Washington has dominated this ball game.
So it's halftime at RFK Stadium in Washington. With Washington 7, Philadelphia nothing. Washington had evidently kicked a field goal, but a running into the kicker penalty gave Washington a first down on the Philadelphia 10-yard line, so they took the 3 points down. Benny Malone scored from 10 yards out, and it's 7-0 Skins at the half.
I'm a mileage nut. I checked all the figures, and I got a Ford Fairmont. 4-cylinder mileage is even higher than last year's. And do they have a 6-cylinder? With standard 4-speed transmission, no 6, foreign or domestic, beats Fairmont's estimated MPG. Datsun's 4-speed doesn't beat it. Toyota doesn't beat it. Citation, the GMX cars don't beat it.
Harold.
Aren't you glad you bought a Fairmont?
You bet your gas can.
The right idea for today.
Natural light beer, please. Hexie, I guess you're supposed to say, give me a natural or make it a natural. Okay, so I'm a maverick. But, you know, I just walked out of a bar because they didn't have natural light beer.
You must have been humidified.
So was I.
I empathize with you. You know, Kevin, without the smooth, clean taste of this light beer is downright unnatural.
You know, that's so true. That's why I came in here for a natural. There you go. I just said natural. It goes to show you. I guess you hear something so often, you naturally just follow along like a flock of sheep. Monkey see, monkey do.
I'm Cheryl Teague. I feel at home in front of the camera. But behind the camera, I don't know the difference between a lens opening and a Broadway opening. So I rely on my Olympus OM10. My trusty OM10 gets great shots automatically. My OM10 has this smart little red light that tells me when it's okay to shoot. Oh, it's okay to shoot. Hold it, fellas. With Olympus OM10, great shots automatically.
You saw it on CBS Sports, Super Bowl 10. It's the Lynn Swan Show as he pulls down everything Terry Bradshaw throws in his direction to beat Dallas. Sunday, Dallas visits Pittsburgh in one of 3 regional games. New Orleans takes on Washington and Chicago roars into San Francisco. The doubleheader games feature Green Bay and Miami, the New York Giants tackling Los Angeles, and Philadelphia clashing with Cincinnati. Check local listings for the games and times in your area. You'll say, you saw it on CBS Sports.
Vin Scully with George Allen, halftime, 7-0 Washington. George, give me a capsule comment on the first half.
Well, Vin, number one is they stopped the Eagles' running game. Number two, they forced Jaworski to throw the football, which he doesn't want to do. They've been running stunts with the nickel and dogs. They've taken away the Eagles' strength.
All right, that's a summation briefly of the first half. Washington 7, Philadelphia nothing. Now let's join Brent Musburger, NFL Control in New York.
Thank you very much, Benny. Back here in New York with Jane and Irv. Let's take you right to the scoreboard now and get you up to date. Tampa Bay 14, Green Bay nothing. They're about ready to start the third period. Doug Williams ran for one, passed for a second. The game you're watching's a dandy. Harold Carmichael. Will this be the Sunday shutout? I don't think so. Now it's Baltimore and Buffalo. Burt Jones is quarterbacking the Colts. They're scoreless in the second. Cleveland came back on a pass of 10 yards from Sipe to Rucker. Cincinnati and Cleveland are now tied. Anderson 10 yards to Don Bass for the Bengals score. Miami stormed ahead. Uwe von Schamann kicked a 53-yarder. Greasy went 13 yards to Bruce Hardy. Von Schamann connected on a 39-yarder, and suddenly the New England Patriots are on the board. The New York Jets scored on a Todd, 21 yards. Wesley Walker breached 25-yard field goal for the Raiders. Chicago and Minnesota. Dan Meyer connecting for the Vikes in that game. They lead it by 3 in the first. And 24 yards, Archie Manning to Wes Chandler. The Saints lead Detroit. Dallas scored first on St. Louis to make it 3-0 on a 51-yard field goal by Septian, but since that time, Little has come back to kick to himself. Who is number one in college football? Well, fans down Alabama way let me know in no uncertain terms that I've been picking the wrong team. So we decided to check in on Bama yesterday, and look what happened. They were fumbling the ball to Tennessee. Volunteers recovered it. Couldn't believe it. Streeter throwing a touchdown pass to Ingram. And I'm saying, this is number one. Tennessee at the Bama 29, 2nd and 8. Streeter 15 yards to Simpson. Johnny Majors has got it going. It's 3rd and goal at the Bama 3. Here comes Streeter, left guard. Bear Bryant, what's going on down there with this football team? Well, that was far enough. Here they came. Crimson Tide. Deflected pass by Streeter. Robbie Jones picks it off. Suddenly, Bama was at the Tennessee 33. Stedman Sheeler over the middle. Timmy Travis for the touchdown. It was 17-7. Second half. 3rd and 5 now at the Tennessee 6. Here's Jacobs on the beat. Major Ogilvy in for the score. It was 17-14. 2nd and 10 in this sequence, and a draw play got 16 yards and a first down for Alabama. Here's the touchdown that did it. 1st and 10 at the 13. Jacobs up the middle, and we rank Alabama number 1 this week with Nebraska closing in, Arkansas right there after beating Texas, Ohio State, and once tied USC now 5th. Second 5, let's go Houston, Texas, Oklahoma. That's scrambling, and they're tough this year. Florida State and Navy, we'll tie them for 10th. I mentioned Ohio State. I want to show you some highlights from that team in action. Earl Bruce is loaded. Woody Hayes handed on a team that might wind up winning a national title. What a group they've got here. Watch Cal Murray, one of the running backs. See him there? He's number 43. The I-back, fullback out in front of him. Good chop block there on the corner, and zip, 52 yards for the Buckeyes in their familiar red against the Wisconsin Badgers. And here's Art Schleister. He's a dandy. 4 yards for the score. It was 7-0. And Schleister can also throw it. You don't see Ohio State quarterbacks throw it like this very often. Hunter, 17 yards in the score. On defense, they blocked this Wisconsin field goal attempt. And watch them force the fumble right here. The Buckeyes say, look out, Pasadena. We want a shot at the Trojans. And Ray Ellis of Ohio State intercepts and goes in for the touchdown. It was 59-0. Ohio State easy over Wisconsin. And I should point out to the fans of Alabama that 2 weeks ago we had USC number 1. They got tied. Last week we had Texas, and you know what happened to Arkansas. But I don't think Virginia Tech can beat Alabama. The NFL Today will continue on CBS after these messages from your local stations.
But when he meets the girl of his dreams, she wants him to stop making house calls. The CBS Wednesday movie at 9, Eat Central and Mountain.
This is CBS.
Oakland has just gone ahead of the Jets at halftime, but let's take you to the scoreboard. I'm Brent Musburger reporting live from New York right now. And around the league, we have some other things going on that we will check on. But first, let me show you the New York City Marathon. I get so confused, I don't know if I'm coming or going when we start these halftime shows. What do we got? We've got 14,153 entries. This is just a walk around the park. 26 miles, 385 yards. Who are these crazy people? 12,324 men. 1,828 women. We'll touch on all 5 boroughs in the city of New York. But last year, they had some trouble on the bridges, so they put down 1-inch thick mats. Had to protect all of those feet today. Now, you know, there are very few hills in New York. There's no trouble at all. But beware of the potholes. See that runner right there? We didn't know who he was for half the morning. Kurt Pfeffer is his name, an unknown. He'd been training out there in the Rocky Mountains, hiding out from everybody. And he zipped. Look at the rest of the pack. They're saying, how will we catch up to that guy, and who is he anyway? You know, there's a runner by the name of Bill Rogers, though, and he started to stalk after him. Rogers had won the last 3 New York City marathons. How many water stops along the way? 21. Enjoyed by one and all. The best woman runner today was Greta Waits. Now, Pfeffer has relinquished the lead, and Rogers has finally taken over. He also holds the record for the New York City Marathon, 2 hours, 10 minutes, and 9 seconds. He wasn't looking at the clock. He was looking for Pfeffer. And there was the most enjoyable water break of all. And here he came, Rogers, with one eye now on the clock, shooting down at that record. He approached the finish line, but he's not going to make it. 2:11 and 42. Bill Rogers wins the New York City Marathon. Update there, Baltimore on the board. 7-0 is the score there. Burt Jones ran in for the touchdown. And, Irv, what have you got for me now? Where are we here?
Down in Tampa Bay in the third quarter, the Bucs lead the Green Bay Packers by a score of 14-0, and you can really call it the Ricky Bell game because in the first half, Ricky Bell carried the ball for 94 yards, scored a touchdown, and here's one of his long runs of the day. 3rd and 1 on the Green Bay 37. Ricky Bell takes a pitch along his right end, bounces down in good scoring position for the Buccaneers. Doug Williams knows when he has a good thing going. This time he goes in the air to number 42, Ricky Bell, touchdown. Tampa Bay leads 7-0. Doug Williams works to number 42 once again, going on his right side, down within inches of the goal line. And Doug knows what to do from there. Quarterback sneak, and Tampa Bay leads 14-0. The Green Bay Packers tried to get back in the game when David Whitehurst, number 17, goes to number 80, Lofton. Looks like he's going to score here, but watch what happens. Just along the sideline, is pushed out of bounds, touches the sideline, he's out of bounds. An apparent Green Bay Packer touchdown was not to be. So Tampa Bay leads it in the third quarter by a score of 14-0.
Let's see. Let's show you that touchdown in the Washington-Philadelphia game. If you missed the first part of the game, Mosley kicked a field goal, but there was a penalty against the Eagles. They got a first down, and the Skins kept on moving. And here he came. Benny Malone in for the score. Mosley adding the extra point, 7-0. That's where we stand at halftime. Let's send you back now to Vin Scully and George Allen.
Well, it's halftime here at RFK Stadium in Washington. The temperature in a balmy 80 to 85 degrees, and the Washington Redskins in a very good mood. Philadelphia very much frustrated for a half. 7-0 Washington. Benny Malone scoring from 10 yards out, but of course part of that story was the fact that Jack Pardee took points off the scoreboard when Mark Mosley evidently kicked a field goal, but then you had a running into the kicker penalty against Philadelphia. So Washington elected to take the penalty. That gave him first and goal from the 10, and Malone came firing through, and Pardee changed 3 into 7, and Jack is leading 7-0 at halftime along with his Washington ball club. But for Dick Vermeil and Philadelphia, an explosive club that scored 28 points 2 weeks ago against Washington, they figure to be heard from yet before this afternoon is over.
The NFL on CBS. Today's game is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer, who bring you the better idea, cars and trucks for the 80s. Merrill Lynch, a breed apart. And by Kmart Automotive Service Centers, where quality car products are Kmart priced.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. Ladies and gentlemen, protect your engines. The same way 31 out of 35 of this year's Indy 500 drivers do in their everyday driving with Valvoline motor oil. Because stop-and-go driving can punish your engine as much as 500 miles of speedway driving can punish an Indy car's engine. And Valvoline can take the heat, protects your engine, helps make it last. Ladies and gentlemen, protect your engines with Valvoline. It's not just for winning races.
From the people who brought you Die-Hard batteries, road handler tires, and Steady Rider shock absorbers comes the Sears Muzzler. The aluminized muffler that's only $17.99. It's so tough, Sears promises the muzzler will last as long as you own your American-made car, or return it for refund or replacement free. And if Sears installed it, they'll install the new one free. The Muzzler, only $17.99. Installation and additional parts extra at Sears.
Hi, I'm Dave Jennings of the Giants. Teamwork is important in the NFL. Everyone has to work together in order to win. And quality education requires teamwork, too. Education that ensures everyone the chance to develop his or her abilities. Education, the cornerstone of our American way of life, requires the same teamwork for success. Learning takes place everywhere, in the school and in the community, all the time at all ages. Teachers and administrators may be the quarterbacks, but senior citizens, business and industry representatives, volunteers, students themselves, parents, all of us are key members of the education team. The leaders who will solve today's problems and tomorrow's challenges are in your school right now. Call your local school to find out how you can become an active member of the education team. Right, kids?
For more information, write Box 57020, Washington, D.C., 20037.
Preceding announcement furnished as a public service by the National Football League. You're looking at Benny Malone, 27 years old, 6 years out of Arizona State, and he's the difference in the ball game. From 10 yards out on a handoff from Joe Theismann, he exploded up the middle and barreled his way into the end zone for the only touchdown of the game up to here. Ironically, Malone has the second poorest running average of any running back in the NFL. The fella, believe it or not, who has run for less yardage, Chuck Foreman.
M blocking, man-for-man blocking. One thing that we'd like to correct, that fumble that Carmichael recovered was not fourth down. It was not in the 2-minute drill. The rule does not apply.
There's the kickoff now, and Hardiman taking it 1 yard in the end zone and bringing it out to the 10, to the 15, to the 20, and a good play to knock him down because he looked like he was on his way. It was Chesley who came up and submarined him. Al Chesley made a big play because he was also being blocked out at the time he made the tackle. Chesley's a rookie out of Pittsburgh.
You know, the interesting thing in the first half, the Eagles are -3 yards passing. Theismann, on the other hand, has had great protection and thrown the ball for 114 yards.
At minus, Jaworski has passed for 33, but he's been sacked for 36. Theismann to the second man, Benny Malone, and he's hit by Hairston along with Tortolo, number 58. And those are the two squeezed him and brought him down. Bill Berge, of course, no doubt watching this ball game, recovering from knee surgery.
58, Tortolo's replacing Berge, doing a good job. He did not overrun the play. He stays at home and makes the tackle. It's a little easier with a 3-4 alignment than with just one middle linebacker.
2nd and 8 from the Redskin 22. It is 7-0 Washington. McDaniel is wide left and Thompson right. Play action fake to Riggins. And Theismann now throws to Riggins, but they triple team him to the ground.
Let's watch Lemaster, 55 in this play. An experienced linebacker is going to find job over the air. He reads pass. He gets depth. And now inside out, they put the clamp on Riggins.
Tortolo, Lemaster, and Wilkes. All three linebackers coming up to nail him.
There's a big down for both clubs.
3rd and 6. The ball just shy of the Washington 25-yard line. Theismann off the hand of the intended receiver, Hardiman. He was guarded by Latimer.
He was open, and Joe had time to throw. He just threw it behind him. He had a first down on that play.
Mike Bragg will be coming into punt, and he has reason to kick as Joe Theismann goes out. Mike Bragg's wife presented him with bouncing twin girls Thursday.
Oh, a couple of cheerleaders.
Yeah, that how. So Bragg out of Richmond, standing back on his own 9-yard line, Wallace Henry all alone on the Eagle 40. So there's the brand new daddy waiting to kick it out. And Bragg hangs one off to the left. Henry going over to make the reception at the 32. And down he goes, though he won't go until the 35.
4.6 hang time.
The officials will have an ineligible man downfield, I believe, on that punt. That's what it's going to be. And there's John Shara talking to the officials.
You know, Ben, they could call that so many times because even if a man is downfield 6-7 inches, he's downfield. It's a judgment thing, and there's so many penalties, so many replays on the punting game as to whether he's downfield or he isn't downfield.
I could see it happening earlier when Runniger faked as if he were going to run or pass.
Yeah.
That consumed. Here it was just a snap and a kick, and there was still somebody downfield, and he shouldn't have been there.
Any delay, there's usually a man downfield.
That rule does take the initiative away from a hungry player who wants to get under the punt.
It's unnatural to tell a man to don't go downfield, wait till the ball's kicked. Speaking of Richmond, I was in Greene County yesterday and had a great pig roast. And Mike Bragg is from that area.
Illegal man down the field, number 50.
Wysocki.
And Pete Wysocki, who made his first start today after 8.5 years in the league, so you can understand he wants to mix it up.
He's an aggressive football player. He made his mark on special teams.
So now it's 4th and 11, and the ball is on the Redskin 19-yard line. So Bragg will be standing on his 5. And Henry moves up to his own 43-yard line. The snap and the kick. And as usual, Bragg really arrows one. Henry on his 31-yard line. And he goes dragging down as Wilkes hit him. And dropped it. Monty Coleman, number 51 of Washington.
You know, at the top of the show, we said it would be difficult for Henry to return the ball today the way Mike Bragg kicks.
A look at Wally Henry as he goes walking off the field, and more than just a look. It deserves quite a bit of time with 60 minutes tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. California about to crack down on a doctor the state says is involved in what could be the biggest case of medical fraud ever. But the doctor's still practicing. How come? You watch 60 Minutes tonight. 1st and 10 from the Eagle 40. Here goes Montgomery, and down he goes. And that has been the story really up to here. the inability of the Eagles to open up the door. Now remember, Montgomery in 3 previous games against the Skins, and it looks like he's hurt himself. Montgomery has run for over 300 yards, scored 7 touchdowns rushing and 2 touchdowns passing, all against Washington in 3 games, but that's history. It's what did you do lately? And Billy Campfield has had to come in for him.
That's a blow if they lose him.
Oh, with Jaworski on a bad ankle and Montgomery out with a bad ankle, the Eagles can't get off the ground. Jaworski under a rush. Carl Lort sacks him. 5 sacks for Washington.
Well, you see, we have an opposite statistic here. We have one quarterback, Theismann, having all day to throw. We have Jaworski being pressurized and into a passing situation against a nickel defense or a dime defense where he is forced to throw.
With Dave Butts and Carl Lorch really putting a 1-2 punch, and Lorch able to go in and make the 5th sack of the day. Jaworski, of course, has lost a great deal of maneuverability because he's playing on that bad wheel. 3rd and 17 from the 33. Smith inside Fitzke right, Carmichael left. And he's going down again, and it's Dave Butts this time. That's a half a dozen sacks today.
There's no way he can find anybody open with the time element that he has to throw.
Is that something? 6-0 in sacks.
We once sacked Gabriel when he was with the Eagles 10 times. They have a chance to equal that.
And the way, A, Jaworski is unable to move, and B, the way Philadelphia is unable to keep him out, he's been sacked for 51 yards. 4th and 24, and Runiger kicking it down to the right side, and it's going to bounce and go out of bounds inside the 40-yard line. They'll spot it at the 38. So Washington with good field position. 1st and 10 on their own 38-yard line. And Washington leading Philadelphia 7-0, 11-16 in the 3rd.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
How you holding up? I'm all right. You want to go for 10 miles? If we make it, I'll buy you a beer. If we make it, I'll buy you a Lowenbrow.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Announcing a gas-saving breakthrough from Ford Motor Company. The first and only automatic overdrive transmission in any American-made car. When your car reaches about 40, Ford's new transmission automatically shifts into overdrive. The result? Your engine runs 1/3 slower for increased highway fuel efficiency. It's one of many engineering improvements that help 1980 Ford, Mercury, and Lincoln cars average over 120 more estimated highway miles than last year on 20 gallons of gas. That's incredible. Automatic overdrive at Ford, Mercury, and Lincoln dealers.
Next Sunday, it's a CBS NFL doubleheader. Check local listings for the games and times in your area. A super Sunday of football. You'll say, you saw it on CBS Sports.
Steve Little has just kicked a 44-yard field goal to give the Cardinals a 6-3 lead over Dallas. 5 minutes of the half in that game. If Washington could beat Philadelphia and the Cardinals upset Dallas, a 3-way tie for first.
That's what we'd have.
1st and 10 on the 37. Theismann and Malone, and he runs into a crowd and gets back to maybe the 40-yard line.
Well, Ben, the way the Eagle offense is stalled, it looks like it's up to the Eagle defense and the kicking game to give them field position to get back in this ball game.
The Eagles have been thoroughly shut down by Washington. Not only the 6 sacks, they have been unable to let Wilbert Montgomery get some daylight, and then just to add to Philadelphia's problems, Montgomery left limping, and as soon as we get further report on him, we'll pass it along to you. 2nd and 8 from the 39. It's Ike Forte carrying this time, and Forte gets out almost to midfield before they finally bring him down.
Well, you see, the Redskins don't have to take chances. Their defense is playing so well, they can run the ball. Now, that was a tremendous 2nd down call. They brought in Ike Forte, and they ran a draw. 2nd and 9. Good call. Eagles are playing pass.
Frank LeMaster, the middle linebacker, number 55, made 12 solo tackles 2 weeks ago against Washington, but they were able to move him on that play, and when they moved Lemaster, it meant Forte could move. So it's 1st and 10 on the Washington 49. Forte deserves another carry, and Wilkes and Lemaster stack him up right at midfield. Checking to see if there was a flag on the play. Meanwhile, there is Wilbert Montgomery, and they're working on his ankle. So the right ankle, unless he has his legs crossed, I think that's his right ankle. It is. The Guinness Book of Records does not have how much tape used in one game, but Jaworski and Montgomery have to be serious candidates. It'll be a penalty against Philadelphia.
Yeah, they've been pushing back at each other, and usually the second guy gets caught.
Here's the official word.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 46. First down.
Herman Edwards put a slug on Danny Buggs, and the unnecessary roughness is called, so that moves it all the way to the Eagle 34. Started on the Redskin 37, and you see Wilbert Montgomery now testing the tape job to see if he's okay. He looks like he has spats on now. There's so much tape. 1st and 10 on the 34. Both backs going out. A pump by Theismann, being chased by Johnson. Got by Wilkes, and finally dragged down by Hairston inside the 30-yard line. And what a difference in mobility.
Yes. You know, Ben, one of the things that Joe has improved on, when Joe first came up, in this type of situation, he would always run. Now he'll pass over run. Here he does the right thing. Everybody's covered, and he picks up some valuable yardage. But he's reached a stage in his career where he's thinking pass first and run second, and only run when the yardage is necessary.
2nd and 5 from the Eagle 29-yard line. 7-0 Washington. Theismann pitching back to Ike Forte. And Forte picks up a couple. Randy Logan trying to come charging in as a free safety, and Jeff Williams and Logan had quite a collision. Both men up and okay. Lemaster and Totolo finally making the stop.
Here comes 38 and 22, Harmon and Hardiman, which usually equals pass.
On a 3rd and 3 from the Eagle 27. Theismann is 12 for 19 for 116 yards, but he's had 2 interceptions. One of the few negative notes for Washington today. Buggs wide right, McDaniel left, and Theismann going left to McDaniel, makes the catch, and it's a first down at the 20-yard line of Philadelphia.
Well, Joe used McDaniel's height here. He was covered. Edwards had good position. Now let's watch this. Joe loops the ball up. Watch McDaniel take it at its highest point. Right up in there. Nice throw, safe throw.
For McDaniel, interestingly enough, he was cut by Washington. Then they brought him back, and the quote was, he finally has his head together, which is a modern-day expression for Lord knows what. 1st and 10 on the 18. There goes Forte. Into a mob down to about the 15. Hairston and Johnson among others.
Speaking of McDaniel, he made a big play last week. The Redskins didn't score on it, but he broke a tackle and put the ball on about the 3-yard line.
We have 7 minutes and 54 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Washington has surprised and outplayed Philadelphia up to here 7-0. 2 weeks ago, Philadelphia beat Washington easily, 28-17. 2nd and 8 from the 16, and John Riggins way inside the 5-yard line.
Well, that's sheer power. Here's Riggins running out of his favorite set, reverse pivot, man-for-man blocking, just running over people, right at us, spinning for an extra yard or 2.
The best running game he's had this year was 2 weeks ago against Philadelphia. 115 yards, the only 100-yard game he's enjoyed. Last year, he had the highest single game total against Philadelphia, 97. So evidently, John loves to run against Philadelphia. First and goal from the 4. Harmon on a wing. And it's Malone squirming for maybe a yard or two.
Malone's a good inside slashing type of runner. They're using him very well in this situation. Straight ahead. Here comes Forty in and Malone out.
So second and goal from the 3. Washington started the drive on their own 37-yard line. A roughness penalty ate up a lot of yardage. That was a big help. And now they have a second and goal from the 3. Harmon again goes on a wing. Forte and Riggins behind Theismann. And it'll be John Riggins, but they hold him back. Tortolo, number 58, met the play head-on, and behind him was Bernard Wilson, number 22, but Tortolo stacked it up.
Then you weren't there last week. You were doing the World Series, but this is the same situation against Cleveland. They stacked up Riggins on the 1-foot line, and then the Redskins came back with a field goal.
A 10-yard pass from Roger Staubach to Billy Joe Dupree, and Dallas back on top 10-6. So we'll see now if Washington can avoid a Cleveland problem here. Third and goal on the 1, and Dick Vermeil in that little circle watching his Eagles try and dig in. Riggins and Forte. In motion is McDaniel. And Theismann on a keeper, rolling. Touchdown. And Dick Vermeil just turns and walks away in disgust.
Well, there's the extra dimension that Joe gives the Redskin offense. Runner pass. He wants to pass, fakes the ball to Forte, looking to throw. Everybody's covered. Now he uses his running ability. Goes in for the touchdown. Heads-up play. Smart football.
Dennis Harrison trying to cut him off at the pass, but Theismann able to beat him. And now Mark Mosley picks it up and through. He has kicked 47 straight.
Well, I think he's the best, Ben.
And they think so here in Washington. We have 5:25 left in the third quarter. Washington 14, Philadelphia nothing.
This is the Shield America Trust, shielding your car from more than rust. This is the sign of complete car carriages. Z-Bart dealers everywhere. Z-Bart, look for the shield, look for the Z-Bart shield. This is the shield of quality, backed by a lifetime warranty. Bring you protection wherever you are for as long as you own your car. Z-Bart, look for the shield, look for the Z-Bart shield.
Some guys never learn. They're still taking it on the chin. Gotcha. Norelco offers the Norelco rotary razor. Not 1 or 2 blades, but 36 blades inside 3 adjustable floating heads and a unique shaving angle for a very close shave without a nick or cut. So say hello to the Norelco rotary razor and say goodbye to Gotcha.